Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Diana's Talk Show. Today, I wanted to talk about feeling behind in life and how I overcame that anxiety recently. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. It came out in 2022, and I only got around to watching it very recently. And it taught me a lot. Like, the message, I feel like, cured me and cured my anxiety about feeling behind in life. Before I proceed in this video, I wanted to quickly explain that I will be talking about the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once and what I took away from it thematically and conceptually. There may be spoilers, but it's really just me talking about the journey that the main character went through and what she learned from that journey. So there's no specific details about the movie, and this video is meant to be understood even if you haven't seen the movie. So don't worry if you haven't watched it yet. You're still gonna understand the points that I want to convey and how they relate to the topic of the video, which is about feeling behind in life. So I just wanted to explain that. Feeling behind in life is something many people experience, I think, especially if you're in your 20s. I'm in my 20s, and I'm also graduating college soon. So I feel like this is a time where it can be very stressful because there's comparison and thinking that other people are at a better place than you, or comparing yourself to what other people have at this time in their life. Especially with social media, you can see other people seemingly doing better than you, and it's just a whole anxious time, And I want to talk about kind of my experience feeling behind in my life, and how that led me to watching the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, and also my main takeaways from that movie and the answers I got from that movie. So the story begins a few days ago. I was having a bad PMS day. So I don't have bad PMS before my period frequently. It's some months are worse than others, it affects me randomly. So last month I had a bad PMS for a few days, and I had a whole depressive spiral and then my mental health was warped and all of that. And then the other day, this happened for one day, so it was a little better this month. It just affected me for one day, but on that one day, my anxiety about my career attacked me. I had anxiety about graduating soon. So I'm a college senior. I had anxiety about getting a job related to my career, about my resume not being good enough. My LinkedIn is not good enough, all these things. And I couldn't even sleep that night. That's how bad it was. So then the next day I decided I was going to be more gentle on myself by reducing stimulation. So I was not on social media that day. I was let me take a break from my phone, because I think I just need to make my attention as simple as possible right now, because, it's all going all over the place. And I didn't have the option of staying in bed and sleeping all day like I wanted to, because I had things to do. I had laundry that needed to get done. I had to clean my home. I had to do school assignments. So I was okay, I have to do these things even though I don't feel well, but how can I make it as gentle on my mental health and nervous system as I can? So I decided to exercise. I went for a walk in the park. I connected with nature, and I reached out to a friend. So I reached out to this friend that I go to school with. She's a very committed student, and she is on top of it. She runs a club. She gets good grades. She has internship experiences. So I reached out to her and expressed my anxieties, and she helped me feel better, because she's also in the same boat. She says I apply to jobs and I don't get them. And she's also having a lot of anxiety about graduating soon, because she's also graduating soon. So we made actionable steps. Like we were like, okay, let's take LinkedIn photos. I decided I needed to get a good LinkedIn photo. And we also decided to go to a career event at school. So, we made these small actions that could help set us on the right path. So I think what's important to do when you feel behind in life is to think about what your goal actually is. Like, what are your goals and what are actions you could take to achieve them? Because it's no use dwelling on the past. I was dwelling on the past during that day that I had that anxiety because I was hard on myself. I was berating myself for being so scattered throughout college. I thought to myself, why didn't I know exactly what I wanted to do since I began college? Because for me, college was all over the place. Like, I was all over the place. College was a few years where I was figuring myself out and figuring out what I really wanted. And I didn't always know exactly what I wanted. So I was berating myself for that because I didn't get the internship experiences I should have gotten, or I wasn't always doing things related to help my resume and help my career. So I had these regrets and I was hard on myself, but I had to accept that I can't change the past. I can't dwell on it. But what I can do is, reach out to people who are in the same boat and who are looking in the same direction. Because I think like what's important is not to isolate yourself. Like, do not isolate yourself. Reach out to friends who are even better than you, doing better than you, and ask for help. Ask for, you can team up with other people and help each other and help each other achieve your goals, So that's so important to do. And it's so important to do things to help your mental health. Like, definitely exercise, go out and connect to nature, do things, small steps, take a good LinkedIn picture, maybe update your resume, or express your feelings to someone else, because then you realize that you're not alone. Other people, it could seem that they're in a better place than you. It could seem that they're ahead of you, but you never know really what someone is thinking or what someone is experiencing, because we don't openly share that out in the public, So definitely that's what I did that helped me alleviate my anxiety with career and feeling behind and feeling like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. So then later that same day, I decided to eat dinner and watch a movie at home. And I was like, okay, I'm going to watch a movie that I've been putting off. What is on my watch list? So I was on my TV and I saw that Everything Everywhere All at Once was on my watch list, and I heard good things about it. It won many awards. So I went for it. I was like, this is the time. I'm just going to watch this movie that I've been meaning to watch. And that movie was my answer. It was my cure. That movie healed me in so many ways. And it helped me alleviate, those feelings of being behind and not being, not where I'm supposed to be. So I want to talk about my takeaways from that movie. One takeaway that I got from that movie was about unconditional self-love and unconditional self-acceptance, but also unconditional love and acceptance of other people. So I think one thing when you're feeling behind in life, you need to realize, like, okay, accept yourself for what you are. Like, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, okay, I am not doing good in this part, or I'm a mess in this area of my life. I need to work on this. I'm so bad at this. And then it's like, okay, like, just be honest. Like, yeah, I'm lacking in these things because I'm imperfect. I'm flawed. I'm a human being. That's okay. And now what can I do to improve? I can do things to improve because I'm not fixed. I'm a changing, evolving, breathing human being. I'm not fixed. And things will get better. I'm having this life experience that is tailored to my own life and my upbringing and everything. Like, comparison, it doesn't make sense because everyone has just such a distinct life path, that is tailored and suited to them. And how this showed up in the movie was that Evelyn, the main character, she was telling her daughter, Joy. Joy is the daughter, Evelyn is the mom. And she told her daughter, it sounded like she was insulting her daughter. She was like, well, was pretty much, she was like, you know what? You are a mess. You're just like me. You are getting fat. You're not where you're not where you're supposed to be, or something like that. These are not perfect quotes. And then, but she said, yet I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I wouldn't want to, like I want to be your mom, basically, is what Evelyn was saying. I wouldn't choose a different reality because I want to be here with you. And that was just like a touching scene about how we have people in our life that we love, but we don't love them because they're perfect. We know that we have our moments where we butt heads with other people. People are complex, they're flawed, they're imperfect, we miscommunicate sometimes, or we don't understand each other sometimes. But self-love and loving others comes from that self-acceptance of seeing what is there and choosing that you are worthy of love anyway. It doesn't matter if you're not where you're supposed to be and you haven't achieved your goal yet. Who you are right now is still worthy of self-love, self-care, and self-acceptance. This also showed up in the movie when Evelyn confronted her dad, because the movie deals with the theme of generational trauma, from what I perceived, because Evelyn's dad was so hard on her, so then Evelyn became so hard on her daughter. So Evelyn confronted her dad and told him, I needed your validation and your acceptance all my life, but now I can validate myself and I don't need your validation anymore. That is not a perfect quote, but Evelyn said something along those lines to her dad. And what I got from that moment was like, you need to validate yourself. Like I needed to remember that I'm still worthy of validating myself and celebrating myself and uplifting myself, even if I'm not the person I want to be yet, But you can't. There's no use in hating yourself until you achieve your perceived outcome or your perceived reality, where, okay, when I get this goal or when I have this reality, then I'll be happy. If I'm in the movie, Evelyn kind of goes through different realities where one small choice that she could have made differently catapulted her into different alternate realities. So that's pretty much what the premise of the movie is. So Evelyn has the realities where one reality, she's the owner of a laundromat and she is miserable and she is a pretty negative person. Like she berates the people around her. She's pretty hard on them and she doesn't try to understand them or love them, And then she has other realities where she is a movie star and she's like rich and famous, or she is a fighter and she has all these fighting skills, and still Evelyn comes to the conclusion that she wouldn't want any other reality than the one that she has. So the one that she has is she married Waymond, her husband. He is so like sweet and loving to her, but she doesn't appreciate him and she, takes him for granted. And so basically by going through all these alternate realities, Evelyn realizes that it doesn't really, she realizes what really matters, and what really matters is operating from love and choosing to love and understand your loved ones, the people around you, even if it's just the people you interact with, like the person who does your taxes or the person who's a regular customer at your job. It's tough when you're caught up in daily life. It's so tough, but sometimes just take a moment to understand, like, what matters is the people you connect with, the connections you make, the ways that you love other people, the ways that you spread love. Evelyn goes through this whole journey where she realizes, like, this is so absurd. The life is so absurd. It seems so random, and none of it makes sense. It's, like, if you're feeling behind in life, it can feel so stressful and unfair. But what matters is taking stock of the blessings that you already have and the people who love you, the people who choose to love you, even though you're not perfect. And like, we have so many blessings, but we can overlook them when we think the grass is greener on the other side. When we think, oh my God, once I get ahead, and I achieve these external things, then I'll feel good. Like Evelyn, like she thinks like, oh, if I had that reality where I was a rich and famous movie star, then I would have been much happier and much better off. But that's not the truth, because Evelyn missed out on this partnership with Waymond, the love of her life. She missed out on that in that other reality. And she realizes like all the people that got away from her and all the relationships she didn't have, and that external achievements didn't solve what was inside, externally it doesn't fix what's inside. And what was inside for Evelyn was that kind of strange relationship she had with her dad. She had a complicated relationship with her parents, and that followed her throughout her life. And it didn't matter what she did externally, she never confronted the root problem of it. So then later on in the movie, Evelyn cures her generational trauma pretty much. She heals from her generational trauma, and she confronts her dad, but she also embraces him in love. Love is bigger than fighting. Love is bigger than hate. Love is bigger than than fighting each other, pretty much, is what Evelyn learns. She learns to embrace other people with love, and she learns that people are worthy of being loved even if they're not perfect. She didn't embrace that, and she didn't realize that until the end of her journey in the movie. She learns that even herself, she is lovable, and external things don't matter. I think in my personal life, like my career or my aspiration for a career, it gives me some sort of drive and purpose, and I enjoy it. I enjoy going to school. I enjoy learning, and that gives me a sense of purpose, but that doesn't define me, and that doesn't define my worth. What I feel is a more accurate thing that defines me is how I operate. If I operate from love, pretty much, like if I aim to understand the people around me and love them through their complexities, and whether I choose to love myself and give myself that validation, that is what is more permanent than any external reality that I could achieve, If I don't operate from love, and if I don't spread healing and love to others, then what is any of this good for, So I think that was my big takeaway that was related to feeling behind in life. And I hope this helps. You're not alone if you feel behind. And just remember that even if you're flawed and imperfect, like you're worthy of accepting yourself, you're worthy of self-love, and you're not fixed. You're a changing, evolving being. You can take actions right now to change your situation around, or to take steps toward your goal. But at the same time, don't berate yourself, and don't dwell on things that you can't change. Don't dwell on things you can't control. Spread love to yourself and to the people around you. Take time to notice them and ask them how their day was. Smile at strangers, that's the way you operate from love is what truly matters in this random and absurd life, Yeah, that if you've seen the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, you know what I mean. And even if you haven't, you're alive, so you know how absurd this existence is. Like, none of this makes sense. Like, why do we have to do these things? Why do we invent all these rules and institutions as humans? Where, you know what I mean? Like, you just have to think about how absurd it is. But then again, you make a decision on your perception. You can change your perception. You can change your thoughts. And yeah, so that's what I have for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you in the next video.